Is blindness a barrier? No.
Is deafness a barrier? No.
Are mobility, learning, cognitive disabilities, speech impairments and others, or even a combination of them, barriers? No way. Lack of accessibility is.
Welcome to Web Accessibility for All.
Follow the blind. This journey starts now.
Hello, my friend. Welcome back to Web Accessibility for All. I am your host, Ariel, and today we are diving into the second episode of our 4-part series on accessibility testing. By the way, if you missed the first episode, you can always go back and catch up later. Today we are zooming in on unit testing for accessibility in React using Jest and Axe Core. We are going to break it down step by step from setting up your environment to actually writing and running tests. And of course, we'll have some fun along the way. Ready to jump in? Let's go! Now, just a quick heads up before we dive in. This episode is geared towards devs with some experience on React and a basic understanding of testing. It is not a tutorial on unit testing. We're just scratching the surface to get you familiar with the concept and how to start using it in your projects. Alright, so you might be wondering,
why should I care about unit testing for accessibility?
Well, let me answer it with a little story. Imagine this. You've just built an amazing React app. It looks great, it is super fast, and your client loves it. But then you get a call. It's from a user who is visually impaired, and they tell you that they can't use your app. They say that they can't find what they are expecting to find. They tell you that your app is essentially inaccessible. That's why accessibility matters. And the best way to ensure that your components are accessible from the start is through unit testing.
So, you're saying we should just test everything all the time?
Exactly, but don't worry, we're here to make it painless.
So, let's get our hands dirty.
Step 1. Setting up your environment.
First things first. We need to set up our environment. For this, we are using Jest and Axe Core. We already talked about these ones. To recap, Jest is a very popular testing framework, and Axe Core is an accessibility engine that checks your component against WCAG guidelines.
Wait, so we're testing accessibility with a tool named after a medieval weapon?
Yep, and it's just as powerful, only less destructive.
Step 2. Adding dependencies.
Okay, let's start by adding our dependencies. In your terminal, run the following command.
npm install --save--dev jest jest-axe at testing-library/react.
This will install Jest Axe, which integrates Axe Core with Jest, and the React testing library, which we'll use to render our components.
Step 3. Configuring Jest.
Next, let's configure Jest. Create a new file called jest.config.js in your project root and add the following.
Export default left brace. Transform : left brace. Caret dot plus backslash backslash dot JSX dollar colon, babel dash jest. Right brace. Test environment colon, jest dash environment dash jsdom. Right brace semi.
Hold on. Ariel, do you really think I can follow your screen reader and set up Jest correctly?
Sorry, what did you say?
Okay, yeah, I know. Let's keep our cool, alright? I know. It's a bit of a mouthful, but hang in there. I'll show you how to grab all this code later. Well, yes, we also need a place to define some extra stuff to make all this work as intended. But let's skip this boring stuff for now. Anyway, you have to keep in mind that the setup might be a bit different depending on your project. This configuration isn't a one-size-fits-all. Just don't forget to add inside the scripts section of your package.json file the following.
Scripts colon, left brace. Test colon, jest. Right brace.
Now let's move into the interesting part. Let's write some tests.
Step 4. Writing unit tests.
We will create tests for our three components: app, search form, and search results.
App component.
Let's start with the app component. This is our main parent component that ties everything together. Here is a simple test to check for accessibility.
Describe, app component, equals greater. Test, renders without accessibility violations, async, equals greater. Const container equals render, less app slash greater. Const results equals await axe, container. Blank. Expect, results, dot to have no violations.
But wait, let's introduce an accessibility issue to see what happens when something fails.
You're saying we should break our own code?
Only so we can fix it and look like heroes.
Imagine that we have a div element with a button role, but forget to make it focusable. When you run the test, it will fail, and Jest and Axe will tell you why.
Greater jest. Fail tests slash unit slash app.test.js. App component. Fix any of the following.
Jest and Axe provides a detailed report of what's wrong, including which WCAG rule was violated, and suggestions for fixing the issue. It's like having an accessibility expert right there in your terminal.
Default semantics were not overridden with role equals none or role equals presentation. You can find more information on this issue here.
In this case, the button is not focusable by the keyboard. So, to fix this, we can make this div focusable by adding tab index equal 0.
Less div role equals button tab index equals 0 greater. Click me. Less slash div greater.
Now rerun the test. And voila! No more violations.
Search form component.
Next, let's move on to the search form component, which includes the form that users will submit. Here's a simple test.
Describe, search form component, equals greater. Test, renders without accessibility violations, async, equals greater. Const container equals render, less search form on search equals greater slash greater. Blank. Const results equals await axe, container. Blank. Expect, results, dot to have no violations.
Let's say we forgot to associate a label with the input field. Actually, an easy mistake.
Who needs labels, anyway?
Well, people using screen readers, for one.
Without a proper label, the test will fail. And Jest Axe will tell us that our input is missing a label. We can fix this by adding a label element.
Less label. HTML for equals search greater. Search. Less / label greater. Less input. ID equals search. Type equals text / greater.
Rerun the test. And once again, no violations.
Search results component.
Lastly, let's look at the search results component. This is where we display the results of our search. Here's our test.
Describe, search results component, equals greater, const mock results equals. ID, 1, name, Leanne Graham, email, leanne@example.com. Blank. Test, renders results without accessibility violations, async, equals greater. Const container equals render, less search results equals mock results / greater. Const results equals await axe, container. Expect, results, to have no violations.
Now, what if we display the results in a way that is not semantically correct? For instance, we use a non-semantic div element instead of a list element for the list of results. The test will flag that this is an issue. We can fix it by using the correct HTML element. Once you rerun the test, everything should be in the green.
Step 5. Configuring WCAG level and version.
One of the great things about Axe Core is that you can configure it to check for specific WCAG levels and versions. Here is how you can do it.
Const results equals await axe left paren, container, left brace. Run only : left brace. Type : tag. Values : left bracket. booked2a. booked2aa. Right bracket. Right brace, right paren, semi.
This way you can ensure your app meets specific standards right from the start. Now, before we wrap up, I want you to remind that accessibility is an ongoing journey. The beauty of these tools is that they help you catch issues early.
So, we're done, right?
Not quite. There's always more to learn.
Oh my.
And speaking about more to learn, you will find the full configuration of this application and its tests in the GitHub repo that I included in the description of this episode. Don't forget to tune in to the next episode where we'll dive into integration testing for accessibility. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Thanks so much for listening to Web Accessibility for All. Don't forget, accessibility isn't just a checkbox, it's a commitment. Happy coding and see you next time. Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. Subscribe for a new challenge next week. And don't be shy. Leave us a review or ask your accessibility questions online. See you next week for another episode of Web Accessibility for All.